going on, guys? It's your dude Shotmaster, and today we are going to take a look at the information that was given out in the patch. The patch just came out, so we got the Madden 18 title update, and there were a number of fixes, especially for CFM, that were made. So we're going to take a look at that, and we're going to take a look at some of the other fixes that were done first. But you know I'm a CFM guy, so we got to scroll all the way to the bottom of these patch notes to get to the CFM part of the screen. And here we go, franchise. So the first thing they fixed was the issue around incorrect amount of XP being spent when purchasing traits. You know, this was happening especially when you were trying to upgrade your guy to superstar or any trait. As a matter of fact, it was just wrong. The XP was wrong. Everything was wrong about it, and so now they fixed it. So now you can go ahead and spend those XP that you want to spend, and know that the information there is accurate. The second thing they did was they tuned the speed of regression for running backs in offline franchise. This was already tuned in the cloud, so those who are running offline or non-cloud franchises can now have this as an update as well. They also added the Vegas as a relocation option to offline franchise. Again, this was done in the cloud a while back. But now you guys who run offline can now select Vegas as your city. They fixed screens not properly scaling when viewing in 4K. I'm not sure how many of you guys have a PlayStation 4 Pro, but I have a PlayStation 4 Pro, and definitely is going to help with the scaling. They updated a number of player and coach career stats and legacy scores in franchise mode. I know that somebody had emailed me the other day about that. Multiple issues addressed in franchise Twitter feed. Addressed issue where edit player or create a player right arm sleeve would not appear in franchise. They addressed issues around the wide receiver off the line mechanic in franchise player mode when playing as a wide receiver. That only pertains to if you're doing a my player type franchise and you're a wide receiver, and there was some issues with him getting off the line and doing the wide receiver moves there. One thing I know that somebody mentioned to me last week, and I didn't know this, but the Color Rush games now have the correct uniforms and play live now for Thursday primetime games. So you'll get that as well. Filling roster settings have been fixed to auto-sign a free agent if there is no active players at a position where one is required when enabled. So if you had this enabled, there was an issue in one of my franchises where a guy, you know, had his auto fill on, but he didn't have a, what didn't he have? He didn't have a left tackle or something. And there was a number of left tackles in the free agent pool, and the computer never went after him. The next one is fixed an issue where injured players would appear as healthy in franchise games. So a player would get injured, but he would appear like as if he was healthy. The team tab depth chart will now correctly reorder itself when returning a player early from injury. So a lot of times you get the big decision and you'll say, yeah, I want to put this player in the lineup, but they wouldn't actually put him in the lineup. And then the last thing is addressed an issue with free safety having a season goal of 0+ interceptions. So guys, that's what's fixed for franchise mode, but there were a number of gameplay fixes as well. So here are the top 6 fixes and updates that were made with this. So they fixed an issue where players recovering fumble were not being able to tackle. That happened to me a couple of times. Tuning to decrease hit stick and cut stick fumbles globally. And look, if you played the game, you know how many times you were able to make somebody fumble by hit sticking. For me, at one point, it was like at 90%. They fixed the issue with receivers assigned to a bubble screen running the incorrect route. So you used to, when you did a bubble screen, the guy who would receive it would go up the field instead of coming around and sitting behind the blockers. So they fixed that. They fixed an issue where the QB could not dive while scrambling. That's happened to me. They fixed an issue where the gun monster formation was leading to pancake blocks by the offensive line. No, I'm going to miss that in my solos. That's the only reason I got the Browns playbook, is so that I can run that play and dominate the solo. So I'm sorry to see that go, but it's going to be good for online. So all these scrubs who try to do it, and for the people who don't know how to stop it, will be able to have a better chance at stopping it. Now, somebody put out on Twitter that I would love to have these new chemistry abilities in MUT carry over into CFM, and I'm right along there with them. Like, all the chemistries in MUT should come along and be in should be in CFM, and I don't understand why it's not. Or maybe that's the next step, but that's something we should all, as franchise guys, should be sort of trying to get them to go in that direction. And I know a lot of guys, especially a lot of franchise guys, do not like MUT for what it brings, but this is one of those things where I feel like if this was added to CFM, it would do a number. It would change the game. It would change the game. It would change how you scout. It would change how you play. It would change how free agency goes. Like, adding chemistries into CFM, and I'll do another video about this later because it goes deeper than that. But changing, if you add chemistries to CFM, it changes a number of things. Not just one aspect of the game, but a number of things. So let's take a look at some of these new chemistry abilities that they have in MUT and how they would be for, you know, how nice it would be for CFM. So the first one is unfakeable. When user controlled, player does not get faked out by ball carrier moves. When AI controlled, can only be faked out by tier 1 moves. So wow. So for me, like, this is what they need to put this just in regular gameplay, because I hate getting faked out. Like, I know the guy is gonna do a juke move. Why can't I not be faked out, especially if I know he's gonna be a juke move? At least allow me to maybe hold strafe or something so I don't get faked out. But man, I would definitely use that for my middle linebacker, because I always use my middle linebacker. Secure tackler. When user control, player does not allow broken tackles. When AI control, can only allow broken tackles to tier 1 moves. So that means every time that I use a control player, he automatically tackles him, like no missed tackles. Footsteps. Defensive players will apply a higher catch penalty to receivers when they are near the receiver during the catch point. Okay, I like that. Situational pass rusher. When pass rushing, these players receive a boost to pass rushing success chances on 3rd and 4th in long situations. So here's another thing that if it was in franchise, where you can have those substitutions, and they have those in real life. Like, you bring in your pass rushers on 3rd and 4th down, and they're able to rush the passer better than maybe some of your normal guys that you play on 1st and 2nd down. Primetime protector. These blockers excel at pass blocking in 3rd and 4th and long situations. So again, just like on the other side, now you have primetime protectors that are able to block a little bit better in those situations. Lead the way. These blockers are more likely to succeed at run blocking when in a pull or lead block assignment. See, these kind of things just change the game. I would love to put, I do a lot of, counters, pulls, 0-1 traps, those type of things. So if you do some 0-1 traps and you do some pulls and counters, having a lead the way blocker would just make sense there. And then you have interception specialists. These defenders are far less likely to drop interceptions unless the ball is tipped. So guys, that's going to do it for the patch notes. Make sure you hit the link in the description below to get all the full patch notes, because as you can see, they have a number of them, like visual patch notes, who was updated, and a rack of gameplay notes as well. So guys, but I just wanted to highlight some of the CFM stuff and especially the MUT stuff that I would love to see in CFM. Make sure you join me every Tuesday night, 9 p.m., as we're going to do some CFM stuff and go over what we want to see in CFM. And I want to take your suggestions and feedback for CFM so I can pass those on to the developers so they know exactly what we want. But guys, I need the support. Need you to come out to the stream, talk in the chat, and let me know what you think. Hit me up on Twitter at ShotMaster. This is going to be it. I appreciate you guys. I'll talk to you guys later. This should do ShotMaster. I'm out. Peace.